What's up, everybody? Big Herc 916, and you're tuned into another edition of Fresh Out. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share the channel, because we are the dopest channel with this prison shit out there, and we got a great message. And today, I have a special guest with me here today, Garrett, and he's going to share his story, and you guys have been asking, so we brought it to you. Garrett, man, we've talked a lot off camera, on camera. Could you tell the people a little bit about your background, where you're from, and how you grew up?
Yeah, man, I grew up military, man. So my mom and dad, they met in the Marines. They had a Marine Corps wedding. My dad retired after 22 years. My mom retired after, I think, like 7 years. So I grew up on bases till I was like 7. When I was 7, my dad retired in Houston, Texas. And dude, I tell my story so my introduction to drugs and alcohol was like early, super early, right? My parents, when I was 8, my parents used to take off to Vegas. We had an uncle that was a pit boss. And my parents would take off and they'd leave the house to my sister. So my brother's like 4 years older than me, and I think my sister's like 9 years older than me, right? So she's 17, 18 years old at the time. And I think she's actually 10 years older than me. And they left the house. So my sister's throwing these big old kegger parties, man. And I'm 8 years old, and her friends are like, "Hey, let's get the little kid drunk and see what he'll do." You know what I mean? It was the same thing when I was 10. They gave me Coke. Let's give this little dude a little bit of Coke. Let's see what he'll do. So like, drugs and alcohol is a huge part of my life, right? So I'm in recovery. I talk about it a lot, but from there on out, man, I had a good family. My mom and dad were great people. They're still married. They've been married 60 years, wow. I believe. My brother's still here. We lost my sister last year to natural causes, we'll say. But it was cool. My family was cool. We didn't have no problems. When I was 14, my birthday is December 28th, and we used to celebrate it November 28th. And I came home November 28th, my 14th day, my 14th year, my birthday, right? And came running in the house, nothing, right? No birthday presents, no happy birthday, no nothing. So I think I thought maybe they're going to celebrate it my original birthday, December 28th now, because we celebrate it November because you don't get no presents on December, right? So maybe they're pushing it back to December now. So I come home a month later, no presents, no happy birthday. They just forgot, man. And then I always say that they weren't giving me the attention that I wanted, right? Not that my parents didn't give me attention. It's just not the attention I wanted. I wanted it all, right? And so I ran away, man. At 14, I got involved in gangs. You know what I mean? Highly involved in gangs. In my neighborhood back then, man, it was either you're a part of a gang or you're a victim of a gang, right? I'm not going to be a victim of nothing, man. So I jumped head in, started banging at 14.
Oh, shit. It's crazy, man. Just like you said, how things trigger a reaction and take you in a whole nother direction. Because 14 is kind of like when I got into the streets. I grew up on military bases too, Treasure Island. Yeah. Family was in the Coast Guard. You hang out with military kids. Yep. And it's fun. You're on bases. Everybody has a camaraderie. And it's like, you have I knew some of my friends' dad was a Marine. This guy's dad was the Navy. We're all cool. It's that multicultural and diverse, man. And then, divorce, moving to the hood. And, you get exposed to different stuff. And I didn't have no older brother. So I'm like, I'm not going to be no punk. You're not going to be taking my shoes. You're not going to be, I'm not going to get pushed over. Because everybody was there's a lot of bullies. Everybody was bullies. Either you getting bullied or you're bullied or you establish yourself. And, I can relate to that, man. And that's when I started getting into that whole, kind of street mentality thing too. So once you join the gangs, man, how did it evolve into criminal activity?
So I'm that guy, man. In gangs, I wanted to be the top. I wanted to be number one. So how do I get there, right? I got to put in a lot of work, obviously, right? When I was around 18, we were moving 8 to 10 pounds of methamphetamines from California to Arizona, right? So we come from Cali out here to Arizona. We drop it off to somebody we knew, and then we go back out there. And on one weekend when we came out here to Arizona, I called her my sister, and I called her and I was like, hey, you know, we're here, we're at the hotel. She's like, look, dude, like, it's gonna be a long time. I'm involved in some stuff right now. You have to hang out at the hotel. And so one of my homeboys, he was like, hey bro, like we should weigh all this dope. And I was like, what? Why? He's like, well, just to see if it's weight's right. You know what I mean? Just being dumbass kids, man. We're 18, 17, and probably 2 20-year-olds. And so I was like, all right, shit, let's go. So we go down to trails, we buy a triple beam scale, we come back, and we weigh it all up, man. And when we got done weighing it all up, right, there was 8 pounds over here, and there was a little bitty pound over here. Like, not a pound, but like a little mound. And when she came in, she was like, what's up? And I was like, oh, no, it's all here. We weighed it. It's all here. Everything's good. And she was like, okay. And I was like, but, you know, this is the extra. She was like, all right, well, what's up? And I was like, well, we thought we could have it. She was like, well, what are you going to do with it? And I was like, well, we want to sell it. She was like, well, who are you going to sell it to? And we were like, well, we thought maybe you could help us find somebody to sell it to. And she was like, wait a minute. She's like, gee, you want me to give you my drugs and you want me to help you sell my drugs too? And I was like, yeah. And just because she was like family to me, man, she was like, I'll tell you what, man. She's like, I got these dudes that I sell to that I always have to collect from them or tax them or go have somebody go over to their house. She's like, you can sell to them. So that's how we became drug dealers, right? So we would come out from California. We would cut off, like weigh up her stuff, take the cut out to the fact that when we end up coming out here, we're bringing our own dope. And it was on my 19th birthday, so roughly about a year later, I was at my partner's house, and we didn't do drugs, right? Being a skinhead, you're not supposed to get high, right? You drink beer. Once in a blue moon, we would do some coke, right? But we don't mess with no hard drugs because alter your mind and your race and your DNA and all the stuff that we believed in. And so my 19th birthday, I was at my homeboy's house out here in Mesa, and he was with his girl, and they're in the bathroom, and he was like, hey, bro, he's like, your birthday present's underneath the magazine on the coffee table. And I was like, all right, man. And so I lift, and you know, thinking about it, what fits under a magazine on a coffee table, right? The magazine's kind of opened up like this. There's not a lot of stuff that fits under there, right? Mm-hmm. I'm thinking money, right? A bunch of money for my birthday. And I remember pulling the magazine off, and there was a little white line. And I thought, all right, cool, man. We're going to do some coke. We're going to drink some beer, and then we're probably going to get arrested, right? Because that's what happened usually. Beat somebody up or jump somebody, whatever we used to do. And I snorted that line, man, and it wasn't coke, right? Straight meth, man. And like, dude, I was hooked, man. That it got me, man. And it sent me to that next level, right? Where 9 months later, I was sitting in county jail, and I was facing 2 counts of assault, 1 count of assault with intent to commit murder, and 57 counts of grand theft auto.
Damn.
Right? And funny story, man, is the assault with intent to commit murder. I was obviously stealing cars, right? Because, I mean, I had 57 counts of that shit. And I was stealing cars, man, and we were in this stolen Lexus, and we pulled into this Circle K in Scottsdale. And when I parked to get gas, the girl that I was with went into the store, and my homeboy got in the passenger seat, right? And I started pumping gas, and I heard a car in the stall next to me, and it sounded tough, man. You know, like when you hear like a muscle car, something tough, and that's where and we're in Scottsdale, dude, so it's maybe a Lamborghini or a Porsche, or it's something cool, right? So I go in between the pumps, and I look, and there's a brand new Mustang Saline, right? Fresh off the showroom floor. So new that it's got paper personalized plates. Now, have you ever seen a personalized paper plate? But it had a paper plate personalized. And I'll get to that. So I'm looking at this car, and I'm thinking like, I'm not even going to steal this car, man. The keys are in it. It's running. Whoever owns it's in the store, right? And I can take it, but I'm thinking like, man, it's such a badass car, man. I'm not even going to steal this dude's car, man. Like, I'll go get one down the road or look for one later. And as I went back to my car, I caught the license plate, and it said Arpaio, right? I don't know if you know who that is, man, but it used to be the sheriff out here in Arizona. Right?
Oh, wow. Oh,
Joe
shit.
Arpaio.
Yeah.
And so I'm stealing this dude's car, right? And so allegedly, right? We'll say allegedly. time's passed, but it's allegedly, that I robbed his nephew at gunpoint and stole his car, right? And I'm sitting in county jail, man. I get busted a couple weeks later, and I'm sitting in county jail, and they've got the assault with intent to commit murder on one case, and they've got the 2 assaults and the 57 counts of grand theft auto on another case, right? And we're fighting this in court. And my lawyer, my parents got me a really cool lawyer, and this dude comes in one day, and normally this dude looked like doom and gloom, right? He just looked like he knew we were going to lose every day. And this one day he comes in and he's like, sits down, he's happy, and he's like, man, we got him. Like, we got what? He's like, we got him. You're going to win this case. And I said, what are you talking about, man? And the surveillance camera was tilted just right, man. So it's off me, right? And so you get me for a GTA when you already got me for 57 of them, you're charging me with 57 of them, and they dismissed the case, man. And so I'm sitting in county jail, I'm facing all these other charges, and my lawyer comes in, and I think my plea was 5-11-19, if I remember correctly, right? And he's like, this is the best plea you're going to get, Garrett. He's like, it's the only plea you're going to get. He goes, if you go to trial and you lose, you're going to get like 160 years. You know how they do that trial thing, man. It's always stacking on stacking on stacking. And I said, all right, man. He's like, there's nothing I can do for you, man. He's like, and let me tell you what's going to happen. If you sign this plea, you're getting 19 years. He's like, there's nothing I can do about it because the judge and everybody else, and because of the Joe R. Powell thing, you're going to get the max, man. He said, and they're looking to try to go outside of the 19. They're asking for 23. And I said, all right, man. So I signed the plea, and in Arizona, like, you signed your plea, and then you'd wait like a month, and you'd go to this settlement mediation conference where like your family and friends can speak for you. And then also, if you have any victims, they can speak for you, against you. And so I signed my plea, I go to that, and I know what happens is that court hearing happens, and then the judge needs another month to review your case before he'll sentence you. So I'm at this settlement mediation conference, and my girlfriend at the time, who just had my first son, right? She speaks for me. My mom, my dad, my brother, and my sister, they all speak for me. And I look back now, it's like they're in court and they're telling this judge how I'm an amazing dad. Never even met my son, right? I'm a great person. I'm honest. I'm caring. I'm loving. I'm just on and on and on, right? And everything they're saying is a lie, man, right? But I'm happy because they're going to help me. And then the DA says that they got somebody that wants to speak against me, and Joe Arpaio himself walks right into my courtroom, right? And he walks in, he walks right up to the judge's little table, and he just starts letting me have it, man. He's like, he's a murderer, he's a liar, he's a thief, he's robbed my nephew, he's done this, he's done that, on and on and on. He just bad talking me. And I look back now and I'm thinking, like, everything he said is truth, right? Everything that man said about me was the truth, and everything that everybody said that I loved was telling a lie. And dude, and the judge says, Mr. Deetz, if it's okay with you, I want to sentence you today. I'm not going to make you wait. And I was like, all right, cool, man. And he just, I ended up pleading down to like 3 or 4 charges or whatever it was, right? But it's still that big deal. And he says, I sentence you to the minimum mandatory 5 years. He hits the gavel. And I was like, what? Like, how is this possible? And I go back and I find out that my judge and Joe Arpaio had a family rivalry that went back like 20 years. And despite him coming to the courtroom, he gave me the minimum.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa, shit.
And because I had escaped. So a couple months prior to this, I escaped out of county jail. I was gone for 3 days. I cut through 5 fences, right? And I thought for sure, like, they're going to hammer me, right?
An escape, you need another charge on top with more time.
Right. And so what they ended up doing was just giving me 3.5 with a 1.5 years over for the escape. They made up the 5 years.
Wow, that's insane, man.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
So I go to prison, man. I tell people all the time, man, I go to prison, I don't go to get educated. I don't go to get rehabilitated, I go to get educated, right? And what I mean by that is, I want to know what everybody did. I want to know what you did, how you did it, how you got caught, what happened. Because, man, like, I might want to do what you did, but I don't want to get caught like you got caught. Man, I want to be a master criminal. That's my goal in life, right, is to spread as much hate as I can and to be a master criminal. When you think after spending 25 years in prison, man, I probably didn't do too well, right? I mean, I wasn't pretty mastered at anything. So
So the last time you based on the 5 years you got out, went back. I mean, at what point when you went back did you finally kind of like, did a light switch click? Did you kind of say like, damn, man, this is not the business?
I was this last time I was down, I was doing 9 1/4, and
in the feds?
No, in the state.
Okay.
I did the feds prior to that. I did 7 in the feds prior to that, man. I was doing 9 1/4, and I was about 2 years out of doing my time, and I found out that I had Hep C, Hep B, and Hep E, and they gave me 6 months still left to live. And I was just, man, I was bringing in so much dope into the yard, man, it's not even funny. Literally bringing in a ton of dope, man, and I was staying high because I was dying, man, right? And in my eyes, I wanted to just go out having a good time, right? I weighed about I'm even underweight right now, but I weighed about 135 pounds roughly, maybe 140 pounds, soaking wet, right? I was jaundiced, barely could get out of my bunk. And this black CO came up one time, man, and I'm a skinhead, man, at the time, right? And he picks me up and he carries me to medical and he drops me on the table and he says, if you don't treat this dude, he's gonna die. So they send me out to the hospital. They give me some IVs. They send me back to the yard. And that's when they're basically like, dude, look, man, you got like 6 months left to live, man. We're not giving you your whole... I'm at this point, I think I'm actually about 18 months to the gate. And they're like, you're not going to make it. I mean, so like, I need to continue to get high. And I had this dude, man, he got out. And when he left the yard, he was strung out, dude. Like, this dude was smoked out, right? Ezel smoked out, right?
Yeah.
And he came back about maybe a year later. Dude, he had some weight on him. He looked good. Like, he got out and did something, right? And I don't know what it was. And so he came by my spot, and I gave him some dope to make some money. And he was like, I don't want that, man. He's like, I don't do that no more. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, well, man, I found the big book. And I was like, well, I know what it is, AA, Alcoholics Anonymous book, right? And I was like, he's like, I got the big book now. And I said, okay. He's like, I got sober. And I said, all right. He's like, maybe you should try it too. And I was like, I'm good, dude. Like, I want to get high. Leave me alone, right? And every week, this dude would come by my spot, man, and he would hit me up every weekend and be like, hey, man, you want to go read the book with me? And I'm like, dude, leave me alone. Till finally one day I was like, hey, man, if I go read this book with you, will you leave me alone? And he was like, yeah. So we went out and I read it. We read a portion of it. And I like to tell people that's where the journey started, right? That's where it first hit me that maybe I can do something different. I got sober on the yard, got out sober, was doing good, man. I was doing really good. And then I met a girl, right? Had about 18 months sober, and I met this girl of my dreams that I thought was the girl of my dreams, right? She didn't have a job, she didn't have a car, she didn't have anything, dude, but she was pretty, right? And that's what I needed out of prison, was a pretty girl. And before I knew it, I was getting high again, man. And I had to stop myself and realize what's important in my life. Because if I don't stop, I'm going back to prison, right? Yeah. And I go back for life, right? And they've already tried to give that to me a couple times. So I checked into treatment, man. I went into treatment, got sober, and then here we are.
Wow. Man, that's a hell of a journey, man. I mean, from being on your deathbed to sitting here right now telling your story, man. That's deep. As you went through your rehabilitation, as far as getting treatment and getting sober, what followed that? What was your path after you figured out hey, man, I can't get high anymore. I got to find some purpose in life.
Yeah, man. So I was telling you, I think a little bit off camera. I when I got out of prison, man, I wanted to change. I wanted to do different, right? So I let everybody know that I'm out, dude. Like, I'm done, right? The big man on the hill is out. So leave me alone. And if it's a problem, come see me, right? Hoping you don't come see me because, like, I don't want to get involved in that. I just want to be normal, live my life. Leave me alone. I've put in the work, man. I deserve it, right? That's how I looked at it. And I was going around to these different meetings around. They were all over Phoenix. They were called coalition meetings. And there's this hierarchy of people, ASU professors, congressmen, state representatives, owners of treatment centers, and they were all getting together and they're talking about how they're going to change recidivism, right? And I'm thinking, like, you're quacks, dude. Like, how the fuck are you going to change something you know nothing about? I think that was the first point in my mind that I was like, I got to figure, like, how to get involved, because people talk about changing the recidivism rate throughout the country, but they don't know how to change it. Because how do you change something you know nothing about? You can get the smartest, most intelligent psychiatrists and doctors in the world, but they're not going to be able to change it because they know nothing about the system, right? You can't change something if you don't know nothing about it.
That's right.
And you can try to get all the education in the world, but until you go inside and be a part of it and live it and understand it, it's the only way you're going to make change. So with that being said, I went to one of the coalition meetings, and this man came up to me, and I really thought he was a weirdo. I thought he was a part of some, like, religious cult or something, but he basically said if I wanted to go back to prison, I would follow him. And the following month, that coalition meeting that they would have at different places was at this place. It was called Gold Canyon Heart and Home, GCHH. Seen a couple of guys that I've known for years that were on the yard with me, man. One of them did 41 years, man, and he was the first person I saw, and I gave him a hug. And he had life, man. He was never to get out of prison. And he got out after 41 years, and not only did he get out on absolute discharge, right, which means he don't owe them nothing. Another one that did 17 years was supposed to do 35. He's out. And I went to the back of the room, and there was that old man that said he would get me back into prisons. And he did. He walked me on a yard 5 or 6 months later. And then we used to sit in this little office, a GCHH office, like planning like how we can really change the recidivism and how we can keep people from going back to prison. Like, how does that happen? Because if I can do it, anybody can do it. That's truth, right? If you can do it, anybody can do it. We were driving to prison, picking people up in our own cars, taking them to Walmart, taking them to parole, and then we would take them to these sober living places, and we would pay for a week or two to keep them sober, to keep them out of prison, and then they would get jobs. And then last year when COVID hit, right, I think it was January or February when it started to get bad, right? This hotel came up for sale in North Phoenix, man. It's literally a 4-point Sheraton hotel, 400 beds, and we bought it, man. We got some investors and some partners, the owners that now are the owners that are close friends, and we just opened up the largest reentry center in the nation, man.
Wow.
And people get to come out of prison. We pick them up at the gate. We bring them there. They get new clothes, and they have a cell phone, or we help them get one. And then for 90 days, they're at this program, and they get to try to learn how to be regular people. Wow. Because we get out of prison, we're broke, man.
Yeah.
We're broke people, right? The longer you spend, the more institutionalized, we like to say that word, right, as we are. PTSD, anxiety, all that stuff plays. And if you go straight to mom and dad's house, man, I did it 2 times in 25 years, and it never worked for me.
Well, even at the halfway house, when you talk about that, you know, I was training my mind like a year in to try to transition out. So I tried to train my mind, but I've seen guys who did like 20 years, and you see them in a halfway house going to like the job center, they're broke, they're done. You see them kind of like, dude, it's like, and they're just like, and they're trying to figure out how to maneuver, and I'm like looking around like, man, this is crazy. And like you said, you do have the nightmares and the different things about prison, and you're like, you know, I'm free, you know, I'm not in jail, and you're trying to figure out how do you make it. And the halfway house is really, it's like almost like, you know, you got one foot in, one foot out, you know, so having somebody that actually cares it just makes so much of a difference, because if you don't have no family, a lot of people have been there so long. Mom done died, girlfriend, wife left them, kids don't know you. You're on your own.
Yeah.
And to be, 35, 40, 50 years old with nothing from scratch, bro, it's hard in this world. A couple $100 in your pocket, you got to survive. It's rough, man.
We got a couple guys now, man. One, he did 50 years, right? Got out to our program. And we basically told him, like, and I knew him from the yard from Pave back in the day, you know what I mean? And we told him, like, hey, you're not ever having to leave here. We got you. Like, I mean, it's all state-funded place, but for him, you stay as long as you want, man. And then we have another one who is he's an old somebody, right? Used to be somebody back in his day, on an ankle monitor. We're going Monday down to the parole board. We're going to speak for him to get his ankle monitor off, and as soon as he gets it off, we got him an apartment. We got him a program where they're going to pay his rent for the rest of his life.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Got him all the stuff to go into this hotel, and we got him in his room. He's got a 1-bedroom apartment, this place by the hotel, by the facility, you want to say.
Yeah.
And that's change, man, because dudes that did 40, 50, 60 years, they don't know how to.
No.
They don't know nothing.
The world's a different place.
Think about what happens in the last 40, 50, 60 years, man. Phones, computers, laptops,
they missed
TVs.
all that.
They missed it all, right? So they don't have any idea what they're doing, man. So they come to our facility, and we give them those tools and get them prepared, and then we get them into a nice little place where they're going to be okay until whenever it's okay is no okay no more.
Wow. Hey, man, you guys are doing God's work out there, man. And dude, having that, I mean, it's the difference between being free, going back to prison, or guys that saying I'm gonna just end my life. You know what I mean? I was fortunate. A lot of dudes I did time with helped me out. Like, I didn't have a place to go out the halfway house. You know how you gotta have a place before they let you out. So luckily, a homie hooked me up with a friend, and that friend let me stay at their house rent free to get on my feet. But if I didn't have that, I mean, what was my options? Another homie gave me money to get a car. Another dude gave me money to get clothes. So these are all people I bonded with that helped me out, that allowed me. So having that help, man, it's a difference between making it and not making it. And what you guys are doing, bro, it's unheard of. I mean, that's what people need. If you want a guy to change, you got to give him something to where he feels like, he has an option. And I've never heard of nothing like that, man. So that's beyond anything I've ever, had access to, or what I've seen as far as getting out in California.
So we have a national expansion plan, man. So they want. Other states are already asking us to come out and do our program out there. You know what I mean? And it's simple, man. It's peer-to-peer, man.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing that makes the difference, right?
Yeah.
When I walk back on the yard and people see and knew who I was on the yard, and they see me now, you know what I mean? And first off, I say that's how people can know that God's real, right?
That's
because
right.
if you knew me before and you know me now, there's only one way that I change, man. That's God, right? But regardless, is like, if I can do it, man, they can do it too. And that's the stigma that we're getting now, man, is that these dudes are saying, man, well, like, dude, he's working at your program and he's part of helping getting it going. And like, do you know who he was in prison? Like, look at him now. And more guys that were to my caliber or maybe a little lower, but are still coming in and they're still making that change, man. And that's what it is, man, is you give somebody hope.
That's right.
Because when I'm in prison, man, and you get Susie Joe coming from the local college coming in and telling me how she can help me change my life and make me a better person, I'm thinking like, Susie Joe, you lost your fucking mind, dude. You don't know nothing about me.
Yeah.
I'm sick, right?
Yeah.
But you get Big John, that did 50 years and was a big somebody, to walk into prison and say, man, I don't live that life no more. Now I live this life, and I got all these amazing things, and you can have it too. I want what John has.
Yeah.
That's the real of it, man.
You're totally right. I mean, it's almost like when they say, do you want to go talk to the psychologist and what's she going to tell me? I'm in here. I'm trapped. I can't go home. What's she going to tell me? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't want to talk to him. There's nothing you can do in here except for what I can do for myself. If you could say something to any of the youngsters out there, man, what would you share with them? A younger, somebody who's trying to find their way, man, before they get caught up in the system. What would you tell them?
Man, not to lose hope, man. right? And what I mean by that is I feel like the reason why I ran away and got involved in gangs is because I lost hope in my parents, but it wasn't what they did. It's because I just wasn't listening, right? I wasn't paying attention, looking at the signs, man. I would tell them to pay attention, look at the signs, man. Gangs, violence, drugs, it doesn't get you anywhere but prison. I don't care who you are. I don't care how tough you are and how good of a game you got. Sooner or later, you get busted. Every time, right? And so if you want to go live that life of just torture, man, that's what it is. It's torture on our lives, on our souls, on our everything, right? If you want to go live that and go try to, go ahead. But like I always say to people, I'll see you when you come back, man. Because that's the truth of it, man. You don't have to live that life.
Yeah.
You get a choice.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
People think on the streets they don't have a choice. You do have a choice, right? I had a choice when I walked out of prison and said, I'm done, man. I'm over it. Leave me alone, right? You have a choice now before that happens. I'm done. I don't want to be a part of this. Leave me alone. And man, you could be somebody amazing. You don't need gangs or violence or any of that stuff to be tough, because that ain't tough in my eyes, man.
No, you're absolutely right, man. And, that's what Fresh Out's all about, man. It's putting out this positive message, having people come on here and share their testimony. And, man, we thank you for taking the time, man, to come on the show, man. I mean, we'll have your social media stuff or links in the description for people looking to, seek some type of, if they're looking for help or in a situation where they maybe need to talk to somebody. We'll have all that information in there, man. But, dude, once again, we thank you for sharing your time, your story, and I'm quite sure you've impacted a lot of people just hearing what you had to say today with us on Fresh Out, man.
No, I appreciate it, man, and thanks to everything you guys are doing, man. Keep doing this crazy stuff, man, because it's cool.
Hey, you guys, there you have it. Big Herc 916, Garrett, Fresh Out.